Hello, route. Mandia, Bigatei, Kanjigami, Kurikazan, Nimby, Starbaker, Redadi, and as you guys, Steven. I might have had that a little too loud there. Figured I'd try something different for the BGM this time. See if that gets me somewhere. Okay, that should be good, that should be good. So, better than something today. Right, welcome, Steven. Okay, let me see here. Take that off there. I think that's how pretty much everything. Yeah, okay, that's basically everything. Okay. Okay, we're doing this. I decided to put on a bunch of I decided to pull up a random etcher and add a music playlist. So, this is how I done things today. Okay, so what was I wanting to look at? I need to find the section that works with AI, the enemy AI, because that'll do me some good. Bah! And so fine, welcome, Steven. I don't see that'd be under utility. No. Singleton is mostly for random calculations. So, base attack. Yeah, no, I really don't know where the enemy AI is going to be found. Should have, I suppose. I have no clue. Quindicim, can you not tell? It is Notepad. The best version Notepad. For what it's worth, I'm more so talking than anything else here. Don't expect me to make a ton of stuff here. These alright, got pooped on by a character you've only seen depicted on Rule 34. That's wild. That's wild. Okay, it's definitely not gonna be an item. Alright, maybe enemy turn AI or... Okay, wait, hold on. You take a look at a specific plugin that was sent to me. So that's gonna be what? Simulation blocker control. That might do something for me. Okay, so we're just gonna do like, we're just gonna search everything in here. I think it's Control Shift F. No. Shift F. No. You don't edit this. This is not edited. Getting lost in the sauce. Welcome, Diablo. Hajiriban. I can't remember what the hotkey for search was. What up? Oh, there's just a section here. Okay, friend and files. It's gonna be in scripts. And what we're looking for is, hold on. Simulation blocker control. Okay, so that's executive script call. Yeah, I wasn't finding that. There was no freaking way I was finding that. Oh yeah, happy birthday instantly also. Nothing controls bloggers better than gang stalking them. This slow. And okay, now he's about to be storming again because Florida. Ooh, Florida. Also, somebody asking for R34 of me. More or less, probably does exist at this point, but that I'll never tell. Well, I'm pretty sure it's actually just in the Discord server, but. I don't know, it depends on what you consider. Okay, right, get simulation filter tab. Call by simulation function, start simulation weapon. However, will not be called if disable map unit was called beforehand. This function returns a flag indicating which army is treated as a wall. Once control is returned from simulation function unit filter. I'm gonna be honest. So, I was straight up with the devs. I just straight up asked the devs, how does this work? Because I really wanted a pass skill. And I just straight up asked them. Like, I just straight up asked the devs about it. Like I was just like, you know, okay, so I want to make a skill that lets a unit pass through another unit that is not in the same army as them. Because for whatever reason, I can't find it on the script sort. I can't find it on the plugin wiki. I've seen so many, like, just extra things in plugins. Not a single person made pass as a skill. This is weird, you know? Like, it's not what I would have expected. But yeah. If you guys are wondering why I'm here right now, I've been wanting to do this for a while. For what it's worth, right now I'm kind of still in the I'm still figuring stuff out phase of things, but like, I'll be honest. Watching that Fire Emblem Direct, it made me want to work on this a bit more. For those that didn't want, for those that weren't there, it was on Mizu's channel. You know? It's like one concept I also kind of had for let's see here. Cause like the idea I had that I thought would be kind of nice is if like I made a skill at like Karator. So I'm making an emblem like. Okay, so what I'm wanting to make is something. It's complicated. I'm trying to explain what specifically I want to make, because the game that I'm wanting to make is supposed to. I'm wanting to make something that's probably feels a bit more like Etrian Odyssey, but I wanted a battle system similar to Fire Emblem. Well, it's not that complicated. It's like, so the thing about it is like, so what I'm wanting to make is, I'm kind of wanting to go a little bit more into, if you took the concept, the pitch of Fire Emblem Gaiden. And for those that don't know, Fire Emblem Gaiden was made during a time in the franchise when they genuinely did not know what they were doing with themselves. I like this one. I think this one was the... You know, I can't remember. I want to say this was Etrian Odyssey 5's, the night town theme, but I can't remember. I know, right. Yeah, no, it is. But anyway, so the concept itself is kind of supposed to be like, so what if we took Fire Emblem and tried to make it a little bit more JRPG-like? In the sense of, during this time period when Fire Emblem Gaiden was released, they didn't know what they were doing with the series. And they wanted to release... They were just kind of trying stuff at that point. Like, it wasn't until Mr. the Emblem that they kind of understood roughly what the series' identity was supposed to be. There goes Price off of he's an expert coder. You know? I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. And look, full disclosure? Full disclosure! This will feature lore, okay? This will feature the VTuber lore. So here's the thing. It either comes out as a light novel series, or it comes out as the Well, this game features the VTuber archive. Well, no, my specific lore. It'll feature my specific lore. I never went to Afkai. Probably, yeah, probably. Look, I'm gonna be honest, I generally am fairly interested in writing. For what it's worth, I've been wanting to like I've kind of been wanting to like work on doing light novels, or like a light novel. It's just kind of a matter of like actually getting around to it and having the confidence to even let anybody read it at this point, because I'm gonna be honest, the hardest part really is genuinely, yes, make a light novel. Look, you gotta remember, most VTubers overdo it in terms of like them explaining their lore. Will I be reincarnated? No. I'm going to stress it will be played very straight, actually. The whole thing. You guys gotta remember, you're talking to somebody who's a Fire Emblem fan. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking to somebody who, like, you know, when it comes to, like, interests and things like writing style and what have you, generally taking things seriously is the most likely outcome. Wendier! We don't discuss these things! For what it's worth, it's also just like, it's too old. It doesn't matter. Will I be simultaneously overpowered and unknown for whatever reason, the unsung protagonist? Yes and no? I don't know, honestly. You try Fire Emblem, but you're ranking it alternative. I'm gonna be honest, Fire Emblem I like because Fire Emblem... The thing I like about Fire Emblem is that everything in the games are predictable. Like, it's one of the few SRPGs that does not feel the need to completely just do a bunch of stuff that. Like, in general, so the main idea that I'm kind of wanting to go off of here is, like... What I really want to make with the whole thing is, I want to make, like, a world-building project that's, like, good enough to actually have people want to add on to it, if that makes sense to say. Because I really like the idea of just kind of letting everybody just mess with it if they want to. And then I can do the George Lucas thing and, you know, proclaim things canon or not. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's like poetry. It rhymes. And then there's that one line where George started yelling at a guy because he mentioned Mara Jade. That one was my favorite. Like, have you ever heard George Lucas scream? I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now! Am I gonna have a canon hierarchy? Probably. Though for what it's worth, it's like one of those things where it's like, generally speaking, I don't know, I really like the idea of making something where everybody's allowed to add on to it if they want. George does have some acting talent. Well, you gotta remember, he played the blue guy in... What was it, Attack of the Clones? I think it was Attack of the Clones. I don't know, maybe it was... No, it was... Well, obviously, yes. I mean, for what it's worth, I've got ideas for like stuff past just, you know, past just myself, of course. It's just kind of one of those things where I feel like that's kind of one of the easier ones to get out there. I feel like it's kind of like an easy one to cut my teeth on because it makes it easier for like me to not have to like. It makes it easier for people to have interest in it. I will stress the whole project has kind of been one of those things I've been wanting to work on for like years. Predates VTubing. But for what it's worth, I'm not really talking about much right now, no, am I? No, the worst part is it's just me being here. Pretending I'm doing stuff. So what exactly is simulation blocker control? Maybe that's gonna be in the... Hold on. Let's see. SRPG Studio Script Reference. Control F. No? Okay, that doesn't do anything. Okay, wait, here's something. Simulation blocker control. Is custom filter applicable? Function unit. Okay, this is actually a lot more to work with here. Okay, so this is a constructor that looks like it creates an array. Maybe of units? Configure blocker rule. Okay, this is getting us somewhere. And it's empty! So my best guess is that configure blocker rule most likely relates to it probably hold on, blocker rule. The following code can be used. There's no intention of treating friends. Player on aliens for players as well. In this instance, only the opposing force would be scanned, so the scan unitless loop would get shorter. Evaluating whether a unit is a friend or an is target blocker would be unnecessary. Huh. So it's blocker rule though. Base blocker rule is your applicable so the unit has the ability to individually treat targets as walls. Is target blocker. If true is returned from this function, target unit is treated. Okay, I'm finding something here. This is actually very important information. I know that, but I also don't want the entire thing to be just a pure vanity project, you know what I mean? Like, I want to also stress another thing. Before I go doing anything else, which is why, honestly, it's likely I'd probably end up releasing a light novel before I finish this project. I want to actually make a good game first. Thanks, Diablo. Like, that's kind of the main thing I'm wanting to stress here, because I do actually want to make something of actual quality, something that actually is... something that, like, it's actually worth playing on its own. Because I don't want it to be just the novelty of, hey, a VTuber made a game to do their VTuber lore. That's pretty cool. And then, like, you play, like, the first, like, 5 or 6 minutes of it and then never touch it again because you don't really care. Also, if I ever do finish this, I have one thing I need to make sure that I promise you guys. There will be an official torrent. Because I can't give you a physical release. Therefore, you can't actually purchase it in that case. And remember, if buying isn't owning, piracy isn't theft. You know, I could just make it a free EXE on a website, but that's not as fun. I'll just have it hosted on a random Google Drive or whatever. Wait, what the frick? Base object, comma, what? I haven't touched this at all, have I? No, this is completely unedited. I swear. Let's see. Target unit will be treated as well by setting a unit filter flag optional. Yes. For what it's worth, though, I am a little bit like, you know, I do kind of want to try to keep a fair bit of variety with a lot of the characters. Like, the number of human characters in the game is probably gonna be pretty low to begin with, because I have to make everything different. But I will attempt one thing. I will attempt to ensure there is plenty of cute and funny for all of you. Unfortunately, there won't be a ton of playable characters because of the fact that just I don't want to over... Because I kind of want to focus a little bit more on making every class different. And like really different. Because you gotta remember, it's like, you know, I've mentioned Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem's been mentioned, and this is the make a game like Fire Emblem software. But the thing about it is, the key word alongside this, however, is Etrian Odyssey. And I'm trying to find that middle ground. Where it gets very interesting. Ichibako, welcome, Azriban. I can't remember what stratum this song was from. Maybe it was just Untold 1, honestly. It was either Untold or 5. I think maybe 5. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put on Etrian Odyssey music for this. I'm trying to guess what specific songs it was. Okay, wait, hold on. All enemies will be treated as well as if unit filter flag that enemy is determined by script call that simulation filter flag. But sometimes it's necessary to decide which enemy is a wall individually. If unit filtering flag optional is returned from this function, only units set with the unit filter flag optional will be treated as walls. Look at that one, so... Unit filter flag. Fine code can be used if there is no intention of shooting friends as well. In the sense that the opposing force be scanned to the scan. I'm kind of just trying to figure out where specifically we're going with this. There's kind of an idea here. Because there's two concepts I want to work with. Actually, you know, now that I think about it though. So like I wanted to do a setup where I have a like I have a unit that's able to basically block multiple spaces around them as well. Kind of thinking about how specifically I want to do that, but I could just make it a multi-tile unit instead of whatever I was thinking of doing. I have a tendency to, you know, be a little bit too difficult with things. For what it's worth, any excuse to use the multi-tile units isn't necessarily a bad idea, though. Because that is a thing that it does exist in the software. It's just an enormous pain to actually do right. Because multi-tile units are very difficult. You wanna know why? Because the way they have them set up, it doesn't support like larger sprites. Should have a hero character have a skill that lets them squeeze the opponent's heart and explode it. Well, okay, so here's the idea. So the starting party is basically going to be, and I'm still kind of working out exactly what I want to do with parts of it, but one of the classes that I know for a fact I want to have in there is I want to have a high defense class who mainly focuses on a combination of blocking enemy units and guarding allies. Also, Gabby, welcome to the Devon. Like, I'm gonna be honest here, my playthrough of Etrian Odyssey is extremely nostalgic. Tanks like multi-tile armored vehicles. Nah, probably not, no. I mean, don't get me wrong, the setting isn't supposed to be... How am I feeling about Fire Emblem White Savior will probably boost time if I finally get into Fire Emblem. Now this over here. It's like, finally a Fire Emblem for me! I mean, listen, if Nama wants to play Fire Emblem White Savior, I can get behind it, I suppose. My peace, welcome as human. But yeah, sorry you didn't get Fire Emblem. Whatever. But yeah, tanks. Finally, a modern game that appeals to my fantasies. Gas prices under $2. Hey, whoa, buddy, come on. We're this is a low fantasy setting, not a high fantasy setting. Who do you think you are? I dream of affordable gas. But yeah, in terms of like vehicles and what happens, we need laser beams from the sky. Okay, listen. I've played 7th Dragon 3. That game introduced concepts that I thought were really cool in an RPG. May or may not see use here. Alright, I'm gonna love with you guys. This one in particular, Noko. I'm getting either it's boss music or like somebody just got revealed as being a traitor, or like, you know, we gotta fight. This is like giving some serious. We met another adventurer, and like we've kind of been buddies with them throughout most of the journey, but now we have to kill him because he's threatening the mission. Once Gabby has solved global thirst, he's gonna address the gas prices. Gabby's too thirsty himself! Why do we have to kill our friends? I don't know why! It happens at least once in every Etrian Odyssey, though. Though, for what it's worth, with Olympia in 3, we kind of just go from 0 to 100 with her. Cue flashback to touching conversation around the campfire. You know, where that friend of yours just suddenly starts being all ominous and like, you know, you should probably turn back. I mean, it gets pretty bad out there. I'm just saying, you know, you've probably gone farther than anybody else has at this point. You know, frankly, this in and of itself is an achievement. You know, but then you keep going, and then it's like, alright, fine, I gotta kill you now. Music needs to solve your thirstiness. He can do it. He has done it once. Well, he is Puddle, so it's fair. Numbers! Welcome! How's it been? I'm not really coding right now. I'm mostly trying to figure out how this code works. was in Singleton? Oh, look at me over here. Feels like everything's in Singleton. That is true. One kid theoretically drowned in a puddle. There. I think the important thing here is a line that's very iconic to all Fire Emblem fans. Build an army, trust nobody. I still never understood that, but that commercial is like the greatest thing ever. Once I'm done with that Trian Odyssey 3, I'm definitely gonna be playing Genealogy though. I honestly, there's a part of me that was tempted to start playing a Fire Emblem game like today or something. Just because like there's a part of me that wants to strike while the iron is hot. But there's also that part of me that knows it really doesn't matter. Also, I really don't want to commit to it now, and like, you know, I'm still doing a Trian Odyssey. Bah! It just feels like it'd be too much. Feels like it'd be too much. I don't know how I feel about it though. Yeah, but I don't want to go like too, like, I don't want to be too extra about it. I gotta make sure I'm like being fairly, I don't like breaking my routines. It's an extremely autistic tendency of mine, yes. Doesn't change how I feel about it though. It matters. You're back, got some birthday. This is a year and something else though. No, thank you for that. Stage. Gabby, I have not written a single line of code today. What are you talking about? This proves anything about private software. I'm looking at other people's code because I need to figure out how the code works to make plugins. Have I seen this code? I have not. Okay, look. I think. Okay, here. I'll give like a. I doubt that mine's much better. Hold on. This is one that I made right here. It's supposed to basically create a damage system. It basically creates damage modifiers based on unit weapon type. So like, because in Entry and Odyssey, units have, enemies have specific weaknesses. Hey, that is fair, Cabbases, that is fair. And love them as given. But yeah, so the idea here is like it's supposed to create, damage type. It's not done. It's not completed. There's still some other stuff I need to do. Like I need to figure out how specifically to go about the like how to go about producing a specific how I want to go about making the skills work. Cause like I want there to be skills for resisting specific things, but Unfortunately, because I don't want that person to hard code it in. I want them to just do stuff here. Yeah, no, yeah. So the way I handle immunities is it's right here. It's like if a specific parameter is set to false, it reverses the number to using minus, which reduces the damage there. What are we striking? Enemies, preferably. This is test. This is test code right here. Lot of test code in here. I'm not even gonna like all the green and most of the green stuff in there is test code. Spain lost Miku. Miku's not in Magic. Divorces are heartbreaking, Abby. But yeah, I basically wanted to make it to where all a person has to do is just mess with some parameters of a specific unit to set the weaknesses. You know, that way the characters are able to kind of have a bit more of a because I want damage types to actually kind of matter. Because see, most Fire Emblem games have a tendency to do a lot of weapon triangle stuff. And I think the weapon triangle is kind of lame, personally. Divorce just sounds expensive. No fault divorce! It's a thing! It's not normally a thing, but it's a thing. But yeah, I actually feel kinda... I am a little bit proud of this though, because I did basically put this whole thing together. It's not much. It's honestly very little. It just modifies damage rolls. For what it's worth, it is actually a two sections of code though, because this here is basically just another section for damage calculation. It just adds the resistance calculation. So it's kind of its own thing, I mean, Cali, it's typically 50-50. Yeah, no, you either lose everything or walk away completely unscathed. Absolutely no alternative. But yeah, I just thought I feel like this is kind of a neat little thing I threw together though. I have stuff said lose everything. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, you gotta remember the most important part of divorce is the person who has stuff is more likely to lose stuff. And the more stuff you have, the more you have to lose in the divorce. And Karen won't let you see the kids. Wait, hold on. Is rule applicable? Checks whether the unit has the ability to individually treat targets as walls. Huh. That might be something there. 100%. 100% kids are always weaponized in divorce. Later, Diablo. Is this too heavy? This is probably too heavy. Okay, so I think this is at least a bit of progress here. I at least know roughly where to look for if I need something. Wait, hold on. Register as blocker. Target unit will be treated as well by sitting... Ah, okay, okay. Hold on, so... Set optional filter flag. Unit filter flag. Unit filtering flag. Okay, but where does optional come into this? Only units set with unit filter flag that optional will be treated as well. So like... Who's the target unit in this case then? Okay, wait, what's the group array? See, this is me figuring stuff out here. I'm not sure what that's going to... honestly, it's kind of hard to say. It depends. It depends on whether or not my comprehension here is understandable. So my best guess here is like it goes from... Oh, and where does this all start? Okay, so it's gonna be under simulation blocker control. So is custom filter applicable? I think this just checks whether or not a character, whether or not somebody is affected by whether or not a custom filter is involved. And it calls it configure blocker rule during it. Okay, wait, hold on. I think I see how this works. So then it goes down to configure blocker rule. And that does nothing. I might be wrong here. Is rule applicable? Oh, wait, then it does is rule applicable. Which... I think this is like you add your own code here depending on how you want to mess with it. Because my best guess here is that this is like more of a, this is when it's specifically called. And then you can kind of mess with it from there to figure out what specifically I want to do. So, scan unit list. I think scan unit list is probably going to be the more important section of this. Okay, so I think this just initializes all of the arrays and what have you. This sets up the arrays and the rules, and then I think scan unit list is what actually controls whether or not you can pass through something. Which regardless doesn't matter too much because we know what we need here. I think I'm getting an idea of it at least. Now, what else did I want to do as far as this stuff goes? I think the part that scares me the most here is going to be, like, actually trying to make it not look terrible. I think that's the hardest part of any, like, game in, like, an RPG Maker-esque system, though. Like, actually making the assets and resources unique. Because that's when it gets expensive. Yeah. I'll be back in just a minute. Vampire. I'm sorry if tonight's stream's been a little bit unstimulating. It's just kind of one of those, I don't know, it's like one of those things where I kind of wanted to stream this, but also there's that part of me that's like, I don't know how much I want to... But that is something. That is something. I just don't know, like, how actually worth engaging with it is. Because right now I'm mostly just looking at this and not really doing too much because there's not really much to do right now. I don't know, I just kind of always worry because it's like, you know, it's not like the most interesting thing in the world. I mean, I know some people have been like interested when I was like doing coding in Minecraft, for example, but like... I'm gonna pull up the software, then I'm gonna see what I can do here. Let's see, where is it? This RPG Studio. I'm sorry. I don't feel like showing the software. is... I just really don't feel like sitting it up there. Okay, so... First things first. Actually, I should probably just grab that plugin that the devs made. And just see what I can do from there. Okay, the best way to learn coding will always be... steal it from somebody else. This is an objective role, by the way. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so... Simulation blocker control dot get default filter equals function unit. I'm gonna take a look actually at this specifically because I think that might be one of the more interesting things here. I'll let you know, can't go moving stuff around too much. It's not stealing, it's sheer appropriation. Exactly! Exactly. Okay, so... Get default filter. So that's gonna be like what, down here? No, wait, hold on. Ah, there it is. Okay, so get default filter. So this edits the get default filter command. So that's variable filter equals 0. Variable unit type equals unit dot get unit type of unit type. What does the equal signs mean in JavaScript? Look, do you wanna know why that is the case, by the way? It's because of the fact that there's only one way to do things most of the time. Like, there are not a ton of original ways to do the same thing. So yes, even before ChatGPT, programmers have always been lazy. We had GitHub back in the day. Oh wait, no, not GitHub. I think it was it Stack Exchange? I can't remember. You get the joke, you get the joke. You wouldn't steal code, would you? I would. Zero hesitation, zero guilt. %80 of programming is copy-paste. Yes, it is. Which, by the way, is why I'm kind of bad at programming, honestly, because... Pretty much. Honestly, the main concern with AI, in my opinion, is just the part where the AI slowly becomes very, what's the word? Everything cannibalizes. Because the AI doesn't actually know what exactly stuff is. It doesn't know how it actually works. It just kind of repeats what it sees. Which, as you can imagine, there's a chance to devolve. To really devolve. piece and terracotta Fire Emblem. Man, that'd require you to have to recompile the whole thing and like... I don't think anybody... The original Fire Emblem is probably not worth doing that with. You can make a game better than Fire Emblem 1 using SRPG Studio with its base assets. Honestly, the problem I have with AI, generally speaking, tends to come from 1, AGI is still pure theory. 2, I think that honestly we need to we need biological computing before we're going to even be able to even touch artificial intelligence. And 3, it's diminishing returns. The way they're doing it, it's basically gonna just result in diminishing returns, I feel like. Come on, Foodie and Kazan. You have to remember something though. Alright, listen. Some of these guys found a god, okay? Their guide almost exclusively tells them that they are 100% correct, but they found God, a god of some sort. Don't take this from them. And that's the crazy one for me. So the wreck criminals and volunteers and living computers. I mean, okay, listen. That is a thought. But actually, the best way to do biological computers is you have to basically clone. The best thing you can do is you have to clone the brain cells instead. Like, you need to get the tissue before it actually has a chance to achieve any kind of neuroplasticity. Or no, while it has neuroplasticity. Like, you can't take, you can't just remove an adult's brain and use it to run freaking Doom. Because there's too many pathways that are already established for it to be able to just quickly be able to just start running Doom. That's not how it works. You want, honestly, for what it's worth, yeah, maybe you could use an infant's brain, for example, for that. And that'd probably actually be a bit more efficient because they're a bit more, they've got more neuroplasticity. You know, they're not fully developed yet, so you got like a lot more to work with. This became a lot more messed up the further I explain it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Well, not adult human brain at least. Maybe a child's brain might work though. Again, the problem with an adult brain is is a lack of neuroplasticity. They would probably be legally defined as human in that case, yes. Nah, but for real though, I think the best way to do it is you just clone the neurons. You just clone the neurons. For what it's worth, that works pretty well for your grimdark setting. But my main point is, I think the problem is fundamentally diminishing returns, and the AI really just is not. It's not set up correctly for it. Like, I think the angle that we are approaching it from is the worst conceivable angle because we're basically just brute forcing it. Like, I want you to really sit down and tell me, how much RAM do I need to put in a Commodore 64 before it becomes sentient? And if that doesn't sound really stupid to you, then congratulations, you're an AI, bro. Okay, okay, gotta make this. Make 2 new text documents. Let's just set on 4. AI is not in its monkey NFT phase. Honestly, I feel like between AI and NFTs, I think AI is probably gonna stick around better than NFTs did. Because I'm sorry, NFTs have extremely specific use cases that I just don't see ever really being anything meaningful. The problem is basically, I think the issue with the AI is that it's fundamentally a problem with the coding itself. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere at the rate that we're going purely on account of the fact that the, Okay, wait, Here, by default, player on allies to choose those by the means plugging makes possible things with allies. We're going from securities fraud to valuation fraud, like beginner to intermediate crime. Too ethical to get anywhere with they are at the moment. The problem is, I don't even think it's an ethics concern. Like, I genuinely don't even think it's much of an ethics concern so much as it's a matter of, like... I don't think, like, okay, granted, the only ethical concern right now is... how willing are you to crash the economy? And, the answer, of course, by most of these guys is, yes. Also, Kobo, welcome, Azriba, and I apologize. Yes, I am wearing the socks today. Not really. Look, I mean, listen, my position when it comes to ethics is like, look. Ethics are an idea. an idea. That's all I had to say there. We talk a lot about ethics, okay? But ethics doesn't matter to the government. You know, like, I'm just saying, you know, like, it's nice to think about, and you know what, I agree it's nice to think about ethics. I'm pretty sure nobody was asked whether or not they would like to be experimented on when they were doing MK Ultra. Right, ethics don't matter in a CIA black site. Alright, the only thing that matters in the CIA black site is who has the pliers and who has the car battery. Oh, I'm not somebody who like takes a massive issue with a person using AI. It's whatever. I do think it is one of those things where the majority of AI will probably see a pretty big loss at some point. Trillions have been spent on this. It can't be stressed enough. Trillions have been spent. There is no way this ends well for anyone involved. Okay, this is actually very useful here. Yeah, no, listen, dead men don't complain about ethics violations. Right, unclaimed bones in an unmarked grave can't sue you because you tortured them just a little bit too hard in Guantanamo Bay and then he died under mysterious circumstances. What do you mean this man died by electrocution? Didn't you see that he was stabbed in his cell by the very clear stab wounds in his back? Even though this isn't that kind of prison. Speaking of CIA black sites, I still need to look into that dentist appointment. It's kind of important, honestly. Like, jokes aside, it is kind of important. that's what it's for. Okay. Okay, so... Okay, so my best guess here is this is just showing how to set up the default filter in simulation control. Okay, wait, so... Okay, so then unit list. What's default filter normally look like? Get reverse filter. Filter control. Okay, what is that thing in here? Hold on. Okay, so there are things for filters here, but I'm not seeing filter control. Okay, that didn't do anything there. As usual. Bah. Consider, welcome as Raven. I had no clue what you mean by that, but okay. Okay, let's search for filter control, because I'm curious about what that specifically does. Okay, well, filter control is at least at the very beginning here. Get normal filter. Get reverse filter. Huh. Get best filter. I don't know what that does. Well, I know that, and I know that right there. Like, my best guess here is that the filters are mostly used for specifically just filtering out units from when you're creating arrays. So, like, it specifies what you've got in there. that is kind of its own thing, huh? Also, okay, welcome to the event. So then I'm guessing the way this should work, like normal, would be like. And then, so then I guess you could just add a bunch of. Volume mixer, turn off the game volume. Alright! First crash of the night! Let's freaking go! Okay, so how does this normally work then? I guess the best way to do this is go over to... Ah, okay, I just used the wrong thing for that. Or perhaps, mayhaps, I just don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, so it's saying that the filter isn't coming up with anything there. Oh, it's unit filter flag. Why did I say unit filter control? There's me screwing stuff up again. Okay, so, and then if I change that... Okay, so then if I remove unit filtering flag ally, now the guy should be able to move through the allies. Okay, this is progress. Might need to save it. It's already saved, don't worry, Wendy. This code specifically I stole from the devs. I asked them for help with something and they gave me plugins. Okay, wait, so blocker rule.level. Okay, blocker rules determine whether the target is a wall. In this case, the target is... Okay, so we're looking at blocker rule. Wait, that's the thing in here, right? Blocker rule. Is it? Ah, okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, so blocker rule. So this messes with the blocker rule section. In this particular one, it seems to create an object called level. That basically lets an enemy, or lets a character pass through a target if they have a specific skill. And their level's higher than everyone else. So I'm thinking it shouldn't be too hard to just kind of make a setup for, to just kind of to just create a skill that just flat lets a character pass through another unit. But based on the way I'm seeing things work, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the thing where I'm able to make an enemy, not be able to move past a unit. Because that is kind of one of the things I was hoping to do. That is what it is, it is what it is. I am learning. Learning's hard though. Learning is really hard. You know what actually the worst part of this is gonna be is like when it comes down to messing around with stuff like the enemy AI. That's the sort of thing that is honestly going to probably end up killing me in the end. Oh, it's not an overdrive. I am kind of overloaded right now. For what it's worth, one thing I will note about this sort of stuff in general is that it's never a bad idea to occasionally just step back. Because it's often a lot. It's too much. Shut up, Bride. Simulation back control. What? I'm guessing this adds the rule to the simulation blocker. Yeah, that looks to be the case. It's okay. Well, okay, so like one thing I want to do is like I do want the enemy AI to be fairly refined, I guess you could say. Like, I do want some enemies to actively target specific unit types, like, you know... Like, say, having the enemy specifically try to, create a pincer, like, pincer formations around your team. like high-speed guys sort of trying to like, you know, pass by your team and to sort of get to either your back line to deal with your squishier guys or something else. Like where there's an actual attempt to have the enemy try to cripple your units, basically. There's also no big juicy tips to distract ya. What do you mean by this, Fred? Thank you, Kanshiro. This is kind of what I'm thinking here, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't like doing arrays. I think there's like 2 programming languages where I actually kind of like the way arrays worked. I liked how they worked in Java, and I liked the way they worked in Python. I don't think I've enjoyed arrays in any other language. I'm probably just gonna end up stealing someone else's code for the, to mess with the AI. Oh, I think it's enemy turn AI, maybe. To create AI means to create objects, inherently objects of base combination collector, base AI score, and base auto action. For instance, to combine AI to use command type skill, combination collector dot skill, AI score dot skill, and skill auto action exist. Okay, let's take a look at like any plugin. That messes with the way the AI works. Okay, we'll do this one. Who made this? It's Claris, of course. They make pretty much all of the SRPG Studio plugins. Like a lot of plugins. So the way I'm looking at this, yeah, nah, making an enemy AI is gonna be difficult. Because it is gonna require a combination of so much stuff. Like, I think a lot of it's just gonna end up being just a lot of high-level thinking on it. SRPG is more bare bones than RPG Maker, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, well, okay, so SRPG Studio has a... It's good for making Fire Emblem Lakes. The main reason why I'm using it is primarily just because it kind of... It's one of those deals where it's kind of like either... Make RPG Maker into an SRPG. Which, in my opinion, is I feel a lot more complicated. Also, I'm just at that point now in this where I know the software better than RPG Maker. I also don't really know where the plugin is with the original RPG Maker, or with RPG Maker MZ. And also, there's kind of a few personal issues I have with RPG Maker. Oh yeah, it does. Well, SRPG Studio is literally just the one piece of software. They have only recently begun working on a follow-up to SRPG Studio. Admittedly, most of it is going to end up being just the fact that it's gonna end up taking a bit more after, what is it? They're mostly gonna be messing around with just the overall looks of it. Not really too much of the mechanical side, but for what it's worth, it kind of makes sense why they would. $2,000 XP. Look, I have MV and MZ, okay? I'm most likely gonna use one of those if it came down to it. Maybe MZ, I don't know, because that is kind of the more recent one, and I just would figure that'd be the best bet if I was gonna use RPG Maker for something. But again, there's also the issue of RPG Maker is slowly becoming more corporate, and I just don't think I approve. Call it me being a hipster. You're not wrong. Because I can't help myself. I gotta be different. Wait, if I can get my own nerd out trivia, ASCII put up some RPG Maker games in this teleview back when it was broadcasting, and some of those got ROM dumped. Yeah, no, RPG Maker is a very old game. At least I interned to use RPG Maker on the SNES. RPG Maker on the SNES is probably more of a novelty back in those days than anything else. God, the save times must have been brutal. Can't imagine. That is kind of wild right there, Cabbases. Wait, so was Corpse Party originally an RPG Maker series? Or originally a game that was made in RPG Maker? In the past, they just used to make Dragon Quest clones. Well, yeah, no, that's what RPG Maker was. It was just Dragon Quest. Then some people started making horror games and it just kind of blew up after that. Crazy. And then, a lot of adult games got made in RPG Maker. Probably because it's one of the easier ways to do it, but... Oh, I can only imagine. There's probably a lot of stuff you couldn't do back in those days. Not without, like, really substantial stuff here. Stuff to mess around with, the game. RPG Maker is an engine made for 2D artists. I agree with the sentiment there. Like ATV and games that played like the Mana series. I never played those games, honestly. But yeah. You know, the hardest part about game dev, in my opinion, is figuring out what you're supposed to do. Been seeing people stream adult RPG Maker games on Twitch. I'm not surprised. Not back? Oh wait, no, I think that was a plugin I saw for RPG Maker MZ. Or not, it was MV, I think. I've also learned as I've been messing around with programming in just a lot of things. Yeah, it seems like MZ has a lot of the same plugins as MV, which isn't very surprising considering that MV and MZ are like right after each other. That's not too surprising. I imagine Pokemon's been going scorched earth on Nintendo on Pokemon fan games after they lost that patent. After they didn't get that patent they were wanting to get. Because there was a fan game that made them not get a patent. Which is, it's kind of good schadenfreude there. Ah, Okay. Yeah, like I said, I considered MZ. I did consider MZ for a bit there. The problem really just came down to mostly just the logistical question of how much stuff is in how much stuff is easy to do in MZ? Because it's like, my understanding is like when they did Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga, they had to do a lot of stuff. Like that was a heavily modified RPG Maker. Like apparently that was like really heavily modded. No, I don't know if they used the actual you know, maybe let's see here. Oh, so it was made in RPG Maker VX Ace. Crazy. I guess I can't really stand too surprised. Generally speaking, you're not gonna want to make it in the most recent version, because typically that's gonna imply like something that's still getting updated, and you're always like one update away from your game not working anymore. Because there's like a part of me that's kind of curious about like if they used any public plugins or if it was more of a or if it was just done in-house. There's already Sword and Shield for RPG Maker. Ah, that's a good one. Peak. Yeah, okay, so based on what I'm seeing here, the guy... Oh god, yeah, no, Symphony of War started in like freaking 2015. Or like apparently the guy just started like it took like 6 years for him to just build the engine in-house. That is very interesting though. Yeah, I know, I'm almost at the 2-hour mark, Lindia, don't worry. I guess I shouldn't really be surprised though that it is the way it is though, because I haven't played the game myself, but I've seen enough of it to know it is heavily modified. What's this one from? Is this like a Nexus track? Oh, it's a Pedal Bridge remix from Etrian Mystery Dungeon. Guys, should I play Etrian Mystery Dungeon? Like probably after I'm done with the main series. I don't know. It's a thought. It's a thought. Okay. So guys, I hope that you've enjoyed seeing my work process, which is mostly just me staring at stuff, kind of figuring it out, but like also kind of not. Progress is slow, what can I say? Yeah, I know. Oh. Why did we lose? Oh, okay, so I guess it doesn't make when it's not the main thing there. Okay. Yeah, but I hope I gave some... I hope I gave you some interesting ideas. Or some idea of what it is that I'm trying to make here. Is it gonna be normal? No. But I have a vision. More or less. It's just that vision's not exactly, clear. Well, that's good to hear, because I want to do these more often. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of, like, what I'm doing right now. Maybe I'll try to figure out a better setup so that I can, like, have the game actually show up and all that when I'm doing the testing. I really like this remix. This is what I get for not finishing Etrian Mystery Dungeon. This is freaking peak. Finch Phoenix, welcome, Steven. I don't know, let's take a look at our raid options. For what it's worth, it also is pretty difficult to actually make progress on a stream. I think I'm gonna give it to... I'm gonna give it to Temp tonight. But yeah, I need to really get that fixed. At any rate, tomorrow will be more Phoenix Point. You know, if I could get software for anything, I would love software to, like, make an XCOM like to make a game that is like the original XCOM. I would freaking kill for that as a thing. Even if it's just something like the original XCOM, like just being able to easily make mods for the original XCOM. I would love that so much. At any rate, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. So, good night.